Hello everyone, this is Iyad again, and in this video I'm gonna share with you the 5 main types of cameras and which camera to choose if you are planning to buy one. Stay tuned. The number one question people ask when they want to learn photography is, which camera should I buy? Of course, it depends on what you want to do with the camera. Whether you want it for day-to-day use, or maybe start learning photography, or become a professional photographer. There are basically 5 types of cameras to choose from. Number 1 is DSLR cameras, then mirrorless and compact cameras or point to shoot, bridge cameras, and finally the mobile phone cameras. Let's go into them and see what each of them means. The first type of cameras is the DSLR, which is named after its predecessor SLR, single lens reflex cameras, which used to take shots on non-digital films. But DSLR is digital single lens reflex cameras which take pictures on digitally without the use of any film. The DSLRs usually have 3 main basic components, if I can make it put it in simple words: the lens, the mirror, and the sensor. Basically, the lens captures all the light that goes through it and sends it to the sensor, where it gets processed into an image. The mirror comes in between, allowing the user to see the image that goes, or the light of the image that goes through the lens into the eye before choosing the right settings and taking the shot. This helps the sensor to stay on low mode and not to be active all the time, and save the energy of the camera. When the user fixes or chooses the right settings for the shot and clicks the button, the mirror goes up. At that moment, he or she cannot see the image into the viewfinder because the light goes directly through the lens to the sensor, and then the camera takes the shot. This is why it's called DSLR. It's the oldest type of cameras, and it has some positive points and takebacks. Let's start with the positive points. Because of its components, the camera is very customizable and adaptable. You can change the lens as much as you want, or as many times as you want, depending on the shot that you want to take. And you can also change the settings, play around the light, the aperture, and shutter speed, all of these things easily, because it has all the components of it. It has so many buttons as well to allow you play around these options. The second thing is its battery life. It stays for long hours because, as I said, the energy gets saved when you use the sensor, when you don't use the sensor while choosing the settings. So basically the mirror blocks the sensor from being active until you fix the settings, and then opens up, allowing the sensor to take the shot, which saves a great deal on the battery life. At the same time, because of its functions and adaptability, it can take so many different kinds of shots. If you want to take portrait shots, low light shots, or maybe speed or sports shots, it can all be done through this camera and customize it as you want. But there are a few takebacks on it. It's because of its components. It's usually a heavy camera to carry around. I remember I went on a trip one time, on a hiking trip, climbing a mountain, and I had to carry the camera with its components and extra batteries and another lens, which made it very heavy on that trip. I could have taken fewer components, but that's what happened, and lesson is learned the hard way. Another take back on it is that it's not only it's heavier, it might be complicated for some beginners to use the camera and choose the right settings to take the shot. Although the advanced cameras nowadays, they have automatic settings, so you can just set it on automatic and let the camera do the job. But you can also use different kinds of cameras if you're gonna put it on automatic setting. So this is the first one. The second type of cameras is the mirrorless cameras. As its name, it doesn't have a mirror. Basically, the light goes through the lens directly to the sensor, and you get to see the image directly and change the settings while the sensor is exposed to the light. In order to see the image, they usually come without any viewfinder, so you can see it through the digital screen at the back of the camera, or you can have an electronic viewfinder, but it makes the camera slightly larger. Because it has fewer components, the camera comes in a smaller size and lighter weight. There are so many options of it that comes in crop sensor or full frame sensor cameras. We'll talk about it in future episodes, but basically the full frame captures more light and higher and better image quality. Crop frame is also good, but it depends on the use. Professional use, full frame; casual use can be crop frame. There are a few good points about the mirrorless cameras and takebacks. What's good about the mirrorless camera is the size and weight of the camera. As I said, they're both small and lightweight cameras, which makes it convenient for traveling or mountain climbing or any other activity to put the camera in your pocket and take it wherever you want. But you would have to use, that depends also on the lens that you have. So it's a bigger lens, then you need slightly bigger pocket or maybe a pouch for the camera. But overall, it's smaller than the DSLR cameras. As for the takebacks on the mirrorless cameras, well, if you want to go for crop frame cameras or maybe cheaper option of the camera, this means that the quality of the camera and the image will be lower because it relies heavily on the technology invested in the camera. The better the technology, the pricier the camera is, the better the camera is at the same time. So it can be pricey if you want good or professional quality of images and photos. The second thing is the lifetime of the battery. The sensor has to be on all the time that you're taking pictures or looking into changing the picture settings, the shot settings. This drains the battery drastically, and since the batteries are slightly smaller because of the small frame of the camera, it also has a shorter lifespan. Final take back on it is that because of its small frame, most of its buttons actually come into the digital screen and the menu settings. So every time you want to change the settings, you have to go through the menu, find the setting and change it. And now we talk about the third type of cameras, the compact. The compact camera basically is a mirrorless camera but smaller. It has a fixed lens on it as opposed to the DSLR and mirrorless camera, where both of them can have different lenses. You can change the lens. For the compact cameras or point to shoot, it has one basic function: point and shoot. It doesn't have many features or adjustable components. So you are limited with the settings that come with the camera and the lens that comes with it. They're slightly better than the mobile phone cameras because their sensors and lenses are slightly bigger. However, they're smaller than the mirrorless and DSLR cameras. That's why they're smaller, and they're good use for traveling or just casual photography. Now let's talk about the fourth type of cameras, bridge cameras. Bridge cameras are basically the merge between DSLR cameras and the compact cameras. It has the body of the DSLR camera, the large lens and buttons, but the same settings and features of the compact camera, where the lens is fixed on the body, you can change it, and the sensor is slightly smaller than the DSLR cameras, but gives you better quality images and photos when you take it because you have bigger components. The take back on it is the limitation that you have with the camera. Like the compact cameras, you cannot change the lenses or the buttons or any features about the camera. At the same time, it has a slightly bigger body frame than the compact cameras, which limits you in terms of size. However, the weight is way lighter than DSLR cameras, which is a good advantage. You can carry it around, take great quality of pictures, and a smaller or lighter weight of cameras. Their prices also range. They have cheap ones and good ones. Cheap ones and expensive ones. It depends on your budget, but this is good for casual photography, not professional photography. The mobile phone cameras, they have small lenses and small sensors because of the size of the phone, but basically good because you can carry it with you wherever you go. It's in your phone, so you can capture the moments on the go. And nowadays the technology of the mobile phones and their cameras are amazing. They're trying to adapt the settings of the DSLR or mirrorless cameras into the mobile phone cameras, giving them good aperture, low light capturing, and zoom in and out settings. However, it's still limited. No matter how big the phone is, the camera and the sensor are still small compared to the DSLR or mirrorless cameras. They're good for day-to-day use, any photography during daytime. At low light or nighttime, they can be quite challenging, but the technology is evolving, and we might use the DSLR cameras in the future in our mobile phones. Now, after I have shared with you the 5 main types of cameras, which camera should you buy? Well, it's subjective to your needs and the preference. What do you want to do with it? Do you want for day-to-day use? You can go for the mobile phone camera, compact cameras, or maybe the bridge cameras. Or do you want to start learning photography? You can go with a beginner's version of the mirrorless or the DSLR cameras. I would suggest DSLR because the settings are slightly better than the mirrorless, and then you can upgrade it on the go. If you want professional photography, then you know which camera you want. And the last advice is, if you want to learn photography and planning to become professional in the future, invest in a small or like low budget DSLR camera and take it from there. When you feel like the camera is limiting your options, then this is the time to upgrade to a bigger camera. You can always sell the frame of the camera and buy another one, just to not to spend a lot of money at the same time. I hope you liked this video. Please like, subscribe, and share the video with your friends, and let me know in the comment section if you liked any part of this video, or if you have any questions. I can tackle them in the comments or maybe in future videos. Thank you and stay tuned.